if there was a way that you could help an underserved segment of society and you're going to put more time into it and you're probably going to make less money out of that than if you were to serve the overserved or the regularly served parts of society, would you do it? Hey, everybody, Mike Baltazar here. Thank you so much for joining me on this webinar Wednesday. And yeah, you probably guessed it. I am alluding to something very specific in my world because I spent most of my life doing traditional mortgages and trying to stay away from specialty products out there just because, there's only so much time in the day. And, do I want to do 20 transactions a month or do I want to do 3 or 4 per month? And you can kind of do the mathematics on that. Anyways, in 2020, a statistic came out that there were over 600,000 seniors in America that had more than a 50% equity position in their home, meaning that there's a lot of equity in their home. The equity was higher than what was owed on it. But of these 600,000 people, they were one or more payments past due. So I'm going to let that sink in for a little bit because most Americans don't have that much equity, but also most Americans are not delinquent on their mortgages. So you have this dynamic where this segment of society has a lot of equity in their home, but they're struggling to make the payments. And so that's sad because, obviously there's a lot of pride that goes into having a successful retirement, having enough to live off of without having to go work at a retail store part-time, right? You kind of get this picture that I'm painting, whether because you've seen it firsthand with a friend or neighbor, or maybe even a family member that was involved in this. Well, anyways, when this statistic came out, it hit me like a ton of bricks because we're having this major refi boom in America, and I'm literally doing 30 or more transactions every single month. But then I am now aware of this segment of society that is being underserved because there's a mortgage product out there that's perfect for those individuals that can't afford their monthly mortgage payment and they have a lot of equity in their home. It's called a reverse mortgage. Well, coincidentally, I was working for this phenomenal mortgage company back in the day, and I was partnered with one of the best in the industry with reverse mortgages. And middle of the night, he took off and left the entire department up in the air. And corporate reached out to me to, take over for him until they found a replacement. And then I ended up sticking in that position. So when this statistic came out, I'm actually running a reverse mortgage division for a very reputable company. And it was one of those things where I couldn't look away. And I had to make the really, really tough decision as to how much of my time and energy was I going to put towards reverse mortgages. And I ended up taking the leap of faith and devoting most of my time and energy towards reverse mortgages. And what's amazing, one of the most fascinating things that has unfolded since 2020, essentially, is that I've been able to spend 5+ years, again, with most of my time and energy go into this segment of society. And a lot of times I will I have the opportunity to inform this type of clientele, their advisors, friends, and family. And so I'm leading these individuals to water. And it's pretty fascinating the number of individuals that qualify could absolutely use this product or program, but then default to just doing something safe. And for anyone watching my recent live streams, you kind of get the gist of where I'm going with a lot of that. Now, one of the things I did last year, and this is something that was on my heart to do for years and years and years, as I was seeing so many people being led to water, but then not being able to, get them to help themselves for one reason or another. So what I did was this. I went out and I wrote a book. I put this book together, putting all of your assets to work for you during retirement. And it's a reverse mortgage book. And the first chapter is just to shed some light on the fact that there are so many seniors in America that are struggling, but they're too prideful to let anyone know that they are in fact struggling. And it's one of those things where we're encouraging friends and family and bankers and financial advisors and even pastors. It's all, in this book, encouraging them to just ask the tough questions for those that they might suspect is maybe going through something or could use a little bit of help. And one of the things that we emphasize in this book is that this is not a sales tactic. This isn't a way to talk people into buying from us or using us. It's essentially to let them know that, hey, it's okay to use your hard-earned home equity that you own during retirement. So it's an asset that you own during retirement, and being able to retire better with utilizing all of your assets during retirement, not just what's the cash in the bank and not just the retirement plan that you've been saving up for decades, but where else you've been depositing a lot of your hard-earned money from your working years. So I actually had this self-published last year and been putting it into the hands of my referral partners and some new relationships I've been cultivating. And never, ever have I posted something where it's promoting the book. But the reason why I am stepping out there to put this out there and available is not to promote the book, but to promote the content within the book. So if you don't have a copy already, reach out to me. I would love to mail you a copy. If you prefer me just to email you the PDF, I could do that as well. A lot of times I love to put this into my strategic partners' hands just because they can hand it out to their clients that might want to just shed a little bit of light on the topic. But nonetheless, let me know how we can engage and make this difficult conversation a little bit easier for, again, those segments of society that are too prideful to let on that they might need a little bit of help, and that it's okay to utilize all of their retirement assets during their golden years. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for staying tuned on this Wednesday webinar, and stay tuned for more episodes, live streams coming to you soon. Thank you so much.